I am not a daredevil, and I am certainly not an adrenaline junkie, which is why there is not a chance in hell I was going to jump off the highest bungee jump bridge in the entire world. You see, last summer I participated in a leadership program in Cape Town, South Africa, and one of the 4 weeks we were there was spent touring the garden route, and each day was a new adventure. Now I'm talking zip lining, elephant riding, Big 5 safari, four-wheeling, a dolphin boat cruise, and then there was the option of either going bungee jumping off of this bridge or swimming with great white sharks. During registration, I left both of those boxes unchecked and decided I would just sit that one out. Fast forward to that morning, I'm sitting alone on a rock while 60 of my fellow group members are getting fastened in their harnesses. For the next hour, my conversations pretty much went like, "You're doing it." "No, I'm not." "Yes, you are." No, I'm not." And then on the occasion I get the, "You're such a loser. When will you ever get the chance to do this again?" After hearing this argument in particular, I started to think to myself, would I ever get the chance to do this again? And do I honestly care if I don't? Eventually, I gave in, mainly because I wanted them to shut up before I voluntarily jumped off that bridge, and little did they know I wasn't actually going to do it, just make it look like it was, and then miraculously faint or have an anxiety attack, which I knew I probably wouldn't even have to fake. So yeah, I put on a stupid harness, immediately went straight to the bar and took 3 shots of tequila for a little liquid courage before catching up to the group. We all walked to the platform and were greeted by 10 African lunatics jumping around like monkeys to the Black Eyed Peas song, "Tonight's Gonna Be a Good Night," blasting from the speakers. So I asked myself, is tonight gonna be a good night? Let's hope I'm around to find out. We were then given a mini tutorial that went something like, if you don't do a swan dive off the edge, you'll hurt yourself. And if you don't feel the bungee in approximately 10 seconds, you're gonna die. Excuse me, sir? Now you're telling me there's some sort of technique to all of this? I can't even feel my legs, and my stomach is in my head. In fact, the only thing that seemed to be functioning properly at the time was the tequila flowing through my bloodstream. The way it worked was that they didn't give us any forewarning of when it was our turn. They just walked around with carabiners and hooked up whoever they felt should go next. So evidently, my turn did come, and as soon as I heard the snap of that carabiner and slight tug on my harness, I froze. Okay, this is it. Cue panic attack now. Please faint or something. All eyes were on me. "Oh my God, is she gonna do it?" my friends whispered to each other. I took a moment because there are certain things people say they would never do, and mean it with every bone in their body. And for me, jumping off a bridge while attached to an elastic band was just dumb. So the stubborn girl with the fear of heights that I've always been would have looked that little sucker in the eye and demanded he unhook me right this instant. But there's something about regret that strikes a chord with me, and I knew I wouldn't let this one go. If only I had taken one more shot of tequila, I mumbled under my breath and walked to the edge of the platform. "On the count of 3, he said. 1, 2, 3. It all happened pretty quickly after that. I used whatever strength I had left to propel myself off that platform with my arms spread out wide, attempting to resemble a swan the best way I knew how. In that moment, I had always imagined I would feel like I was flying. But it wasn't like that at all. I was falling, and I was falling fast. Eventually, when I felt the bungee tug on my ankles and the harness tug on my chest, I knew I was okay, and this nightmare was finally over. In a moment of reflection, I thought back to my teenage years when we were always faced with the question, if someone told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it? And our answer would always be no, because how ridiculous of a request is that? The funny thing is, someone did tell me to jump off a bridge, and I did do it. But this experience made me realize there's a difference between being peer pressured into doing something and ultimately gathering the courage to do it on your own. And most importantly, to do it for yourself. So, as I said, I am not a daredevil, nor an adrenaline junkie. But at least now I can say I've spent one day in their shoes.